So my project is an overview of the mental health organizations in Portland, and it's just going to be a run through of the different types of organizations that are in Portland. So a good way to probably look at it would be go with the handout and maybe look at the websites of the ones that sound interesting, because it's a lot of different places and a lot of information all at once. We're going to start with children and families and the organizations that work either mostly or primarily with children. So the first one is Albertina Kerr, and they're located in multiple locations around the greater Portland area. And they work with children and adults with developmental disabilities. And they have youth and family services, crisis psychiatric care, a family resource center, foster care services, intensive treatment programs, inpatient and outpatient, youth group homes, and developmental health services. They also have specific developmental disability services for adults, including adult group homes, supported living, intensive treatment programs, and hearing services. The next organization for children is the Dougy Center, and this is located in Southeast Portland, and they have specifically grief support for children who are going through the death of a loved one, and then support for their families also. And they operate mostly with groups and counseling through that, and education for people looking to go into that field, and then training for families who want to help others also. Then there is Morrison Child and Family Services, and they are in Northeast Portland. And they serve children from birth through age 18 and their families coping with adversity and trauma. And their programs include, they have prevention and education programs, outpatient, community and school-based programs, day treatment, foster care programs, residential, and program evaluations. And then there are two at OHSU. And their first one is a child and adolescent psychiatry unit in the hospital, and that's in Southwest Portland, and they provide consultation, diagnostic evaluation, parent guidance, family therapy, psychopharmacological evaluation and treatment, and they specialize in treatment for mood disorders, anxiety disorders, and ADHD. They also have a child development and rehabilitation unit, and they specialize in assessment, diagnosis, and intervention in disorders that relate to development. They provide multidisciplinary evaluations, individualized treatment planning, educational and behavioral consultation, and medical and psychopharmacological interventions. Then there's Oregon Youth Authority, and this is specifically for criminal offenders. So it's more a place to help people in the mental health department who have been involved in a crime, to help them not do anything like that again. And then there is the Parrot Creek Child and Family Services, and they are in Oregon City. And it seemed like this was more for boys. Mostly, they do have a few programs where they include girls too, but it's a residential program for boys age 14 to 18, and they also have a shelter care for boys age 14 to 18, and they also have a youth diversion program for first-time criminal offenders. An interesting one that they had was, they call it their Lifeguards program, and it's for youth age 12 to 18 who have inappropriate sexual behavior. And then they also, another interesting one that they have is an addiction recovery team, but it's for the parents of a lot of the kids that come through their programs who do struggle with substance abuse. And then the last big one for children is Trillium Family Services, and they do have a specific center called the Perry Center in Southeast Portland that is residential treatment for children with disruptive behavior and emotional health problems. The Trillium as a whole is Oregon's largest provider of mental health for children, and their programs include school-based, outpatient, support groups, mentoring, therapeutic school, young adult programs, intensive community treatment, outpatient intensive treatment, psychiatric day treatment, therapeutic horse programs, healing with horses, psychiatric residential, subacute care, and secure inpatient for children and adolescents. Now, for general counseling and outpatient services, the first one is Astur and Associates, and they're in Southwest Portland, And their services are individual, couples, family, group therapies, evaluations, DUII treatments, and risk reduction. And then they offer supervision for interns. Then there is Bridge City Counseling, which is a private practice counseling organization, but they're just a community of independent mental health professionals, and there's locations all around Portland. Then there is DePaul Treatment Centers, and they also have a youth program, but it seems like they do mostly with adults, even though they have their youth program. And they're a drug and alcohol treatment, and they are in Southwest Portland. They offer medical detox, residential, day treatment and outpatient programs, family therapy, and treatment of co-occurring mental health disorders. And then there's another one with the Oregon Health Sciences University for adults, their psychiatric unit in Southwest Portland, and they have individual, group, couple, family therapies, multicultural therapies, and they actually have specialties in African American counseling and LGBT counseling, adoption therapy, and they do psychiatric evaluations and medication management. Then there is the Caremark Behavioral Health Services, and this is actually a combination of the Adventist Health and Legacy Health, and they do mental health services for all ages, inpatient and outpatient. Then there is Cascadia Behavioral Health, and they are in Northeast Portland, but they do have multiple sites around the greater Portland area, and they serve children, families, and older adults. And they have programs specific to gambling and addiction services, child and family services, peer wellness, older adult services, urgent emergency service, and residential housing. Then there is the Cedar Hills Hospital in Southwest Portland, and it's an outpatient hospital that works with mental illness and drug addiction. LifeWorks Northwest that has located in many sites around Portland, and they do treatment for all ages. It's a nonprofit community-based company that has specific services in prevention, mental health, and addiction. Then there's Lutheran Community Services, which is a nonprofit in the Oregon, Washington, Idaho area, serving all ages and low-income English-limited clients specifically. I think they do serve a variety of people, but that's kind of who they are targeting. So their programs include behavioral health services, family and community support, child welfare, refugee and immigrant, and senior and disability services. Then there is OT Solutions in Milwaukee, and this is a bit different because this is just a clinic that works with biofeedback and neurofeedback. Then there's Portland Psychotherapy in North Portland, offering counseling to older adolescents and adults, and they do individual, couples, group, and classes, and they have a variety of different counselors, so they deal with most of the mental health issues in that office. Then there's Sequoia Mental Health Services. This is more on the Beaverton side in Washington County. And again, they have the individual and group therapy, coping skills training, case management, subsidized housing, residential treatment, and supported employment. And then there's Western Psychological Counseling Services in Southeast Portland. And this is an outpatient behavioral chemical dependency program that also helps deal with the psychiatric medication. And then there is William Temple House in Northwest Portland. With families, couples, and individuals is who they see, and they'll see their children if their families are already enrolled in one of their programs. And this is a low-cost sliding scale rate, so depending on income is how they charge you, and nobody's turned away for services at William Temple House. And they are unique in that they offer pastoral care, if that is what a client is interested in, along with regular mental health counseling. And lastly, we have Wise Counsel and Comfort, and this is another private practice that has about 14 different locations in Portland, and so there's many different therapists with different specialties that work out of there. And then we're going to talk about the schools that have counseling centers. So there are 4 schools that I could find that have counseling centers open to the public, and that is A New Day at Western in Southeast Portland, and then Lewis and Clark Community Counseling Center, and Pacific University Psychology and Comprehensive Health Clinic. And this one is doctoral program students, so it's a little bit more intense and expensive of what they do. And then there's the Portland State Graduate School of Counseling. So these are all low-cost counseling for the counseling that's done by the students, but there is LPCs that do work in these places also. So that is a brief overview of all the different, probably not all, but a lot of the different places for working with counseling and mental health in the Portland area. The NAMI website gives even more. So at the bottom I have the other resources that they talk about, like culturally specific metro housing and organizations outside of Portland. So if you have a need outside of this overview, that's definitely the place to go. All right, hope you guys have a good day.